One Zambia, one nation. Thank you for joining us on Zanis News with me, Faith Katai. The headlines. VIP launches Zambia at 60 logo and theme. Under over 6,000 hectares of forest reserves under threat. Connection of the Samaki national grid advances. Plus government installed traffic lights in Mpumalanga. Zanis News in detail. Vice President Mutale Nalumango has launched the official Zambia at 60 logo and theme with a call on Zambians to treasure and uphold the peace that the country has enjoyed for the past 6 decades. Mrs. Nalumango said Zambia's Diamond Jubilee commemorations present an opportunity for citizens to reflect on the unity and peace which they have upheld since independence. Mutale Kani covered the launch and now reports.
Zambia is this year commemorating 60 years of independence. In line with these celebrations, Vice President Mutale Nalumango has today launched the official logo and theme for the Diamond Jubilee commemorations. The theme for this milestone, officially dubbed Zambia at 60, is 60 years strong, honoring our heritage, embracing our future. The Vice President used the occasion to call on Zambians to treasure and uphold the peace the country has enjoyed since independence.
As we forge ahead in the years to come, therefore, it is important that all these critical success factors that have underpinned our nation's stability remain founded in peace, security, and political stability. This will enable us collectively to drive the economic transformation agenda of our country.
The theme sits right at the heart of the activities of my ministry, and our promise to yourselves who are supervising us is that we are going to do everything possible to make sure that we sanitize our country using the laws that exist to help us and our citizens live in conditions that are less degrading.
Lusaka Province Minister Shiomuliata, in a speech read on her behalf by Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata, believes 60 years of independence offers an opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices the heroes of Zambia's liberation struggle made.
Your Honor, as we celebrate this milestone, we remember the sacrifices made by our forefathers who fought for liberation and paved way for the Zambia we have today. We also acknowledge the progress we have made and the challenges we have overcome as a nation.
We also commend our President, Hakainde Hichilema, for honoring freedom fighters. If you remember, the first thing he did was to go to those senior freedom fighters. And he said, you continue to visit these freedom fighters.
Shortly after launching the logo and theme, the Vice President went on to flag off a nationwide tree planting exercise dubbed a Tree for Each Family Member initiative. The flagging off, which coincided with the Zambia at 60 launch, is meant to mitigate some of the effects of climate change. Mutale Kani for Zanis News in Lusaka.
Government has received a petition from the African and Zambian labor movements who were represented by the African Regional Organization of the International Trade Union Confederation, ITUC, the Zambia Congress of Trade Union, ZCTU, the Zambia Debt Alliance, the Stop the Bleeding campaign, civil society organizations, the church and citizens. Receiving the petition on behalf of the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, Minister of Labor and Social Security, Brenda Tambatamba, called for the need to create spaces for dialogue so as to refine solutions to Zambia's and Africa's problems collectively. Shilika Chabalengula has more in this report.
These are representatives of various labor movements marching in solidarity with Zambia on its protracted debt restructuring process, which has impacted the economy. They have made an urgent call to the Zambian government and other African governments for bold and transformative solutions to address the debt crisis. The president of the International Trade Union Confederation, in presenting a petition to government and members of the diplomatic community, called for the need to acknowledge the role played by international financial institutions in exacerbating the debt burden.
Africa is bleeding. Africa is not moving forward. So it is for this cause that we are here, Honorable Minister, and we will continue doing the same in other countries. We come before you with an urgent plea for bold and transformative solutions to alleviate the crippling debt crisis facing not only Zambia, but also nations across Africa and the global south. Our demands are clear, Honorable Minister, and our resolve unwavering as we stand in solidarity with workers, vulnerable citizenry, and communities affected by the burdens of debt, inequitable trade policies, and the climate crisis. We must acknowledge the significant role by the international financial institutions. But at the same time, we cannot turn a blind eye in their role in exacerbating the debt crisis. Their policies often prioritize structural adjustment that entail trade liberalization, privatization, deregulation, and stringent austerity measures under the guise of fiscal consolidation.
And in receiving the petition on behalf of government, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Brenda Tambatamba, called for dialogue in resolving Africa's problems and Zambia in particular.
And your leaders of Africa, your governments, do agree that we need to sit at the table and deliberate. We must sit at the table and negotiate on all these matters, including the matters that relate to debt and its impacts on communities, on nations, and on humanity. So we can only do this and achieve it if we indeed open up spaces for dialogue, for hearing each other, for that social dialogue we talk about in the industry, amongst the workers, amongst industry at large, that we will be able to find the best of refined solutions.
Equitable and sustainable solutions are needed to address Zambia's and Africa's challenges through collective action. Shilika Chabalengula for Zanis in Lusaka.
First Lady Mutinta Hichilema has bemoaned the high number of child marriages and adolescent pregnancies that the country has been faced with. She has since called for comprehensive efforts to strengthen the legal frameworks aimed at protecting and ending child marriages in the country. Speaking during the meeting in Lusaka to end child marriage, Mrs. Hichilema says the high alarming statistics of child marriage and adolescent pregnancies need everyone's involvement. Sande Bwalia has more details in this report.
The subject of child marriage has continued to pose a challenge to the welfare of boys and girls in the country. For this reason, First Lady Mutinta Hichilema has called for everyone's involvement to help end child marriage in the country. She said this when she officiated at the high-level meeting on ending child marriage in the country.
In Zambia, most girls are married before the age of 18, while others are married before the age of 15. On the other hand, data shows that some of the boys are married before the age of 18. This means that the problem affects our boys as well. Hence, the problem must be addressed holistically without any gender bias. Social norms such as beliefs and customs contribute to child marriage in Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, to resolve these problems with multiple causes, we need comprehensive efforts and approaches at multiple levels. We must strengthen our legal frameworks that prohibit child marriage. We are happy to mention that the government, through the leadership of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, signed legal frameworks to protect the child rights and also prevent child marriages that take place before the age of 18. In order to complement government efforts, myself and our partners will commit this whole year to advocate for ending child marriage countrywide by also visiting our chiefdoms. Your Royal Highness will be. We are going to be on our entourage as we travel the country.
Chief Chamk of the Ranger people of Chisamba district has praised President Hakainde Hichilema for the increase in Constituency Development Fund, CDF, which has helped to reduce the child marriage and other harmful practices.
And the passion coming from the President of this Republic, who is the African Union champion, and the commitment made to expand Constituency Development Fund, to bring free education, to buy desks, to recruit teachers, and to bring in all those that are required for the children to learn. I can assure you that with the support coming from us as traditional leaders, to support the free education policy, to do the stakeholders mapping, so that we can bring on board all the civil society organizations, the government, the religious leaders, and all those important stakeholders. The fact that we are going to end child marriage by 2030 is known, and Zambia is going to do it because we have the political will and we have the commitment from the highest.
UNICEF Country Resident Coordinator Penelope Campbell pledged her office's continued support to government. Young Women Christian Association, YWCA Acting Executive Director Kalu Mubita shared some of the interventions her organization is making in ending child marriage.
In our legacy work as YWCA, we have drop-in centers where we receive community members, and these are cases that we react to, ensuring that we are helping the society to retrieve girls from early marriages. We are working with stakeholders, with the governments, to ensure that we bring an end to these early marriages, because you are aware that once a girl child is married off, it reduces their chances to be able to finish their education. It reduces their career prospects. But
for Zanis in Lusaka, I am Sunday Warrior.
Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe says Zambia remains committed to upholding international protocols that aim at preventing genocide-related crimes. Mr. Haimbe indicated that the launch of the National Committee on the Prevention of Genocide, War Crimes Against Humanity, and all forms of discrimination is a demonstration of the country's commitment to fulfilling its international and regional obligation in the prevention of genocide and other atrocities. Mr. Haimbe said this when he launched the National Committee on the Prevention of Genocide, War Crimes, Crimes Against Humanity and all forms of discrimination. And speaking earlier at the same event, UN Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide commended government for instituting a National Committee on the Prevention of Genocide, War Crimes, Crimes Against Humanity, and all forms of discrimination.
Zambia is a contracting party to the Genocide Convention and is therefore mandated to punish persons found guilty of the crime of genocide. Further, Zambia is a member state of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region, which also mandates member states to punish persons found guilty of the crime of genocide and other mass atrocities, pursuant to the Protocol for the Prevention of the Crime of Genocide, War Crimes, and Crimes Against Humanity, and all forms of discrimination. The committee being launched today is a demonstration of Zambia's commitment to fulfill its international and regional obligations in the prevention of genocide. We cannot assume that because we are a beacon of peace, we are immune to the possibility of genocide.
To support the government of Zambia to ensure that it can discharge its responsibility to prevent these crimes. So why do we have this very strong ICJLR protocol? We do so in response to the fact that a genocide happened in this region.
You are watching Zanis News. Lusaka Province Minister Shaw Muliata says there is need to engage community members in mitigating the high levels of deforestation in the province. Ms. Muliata noted that community members need to develop a culture of innovation in forest management practices in order to fight the impact of climate change. She was speaking in a speech read on her behalf by Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi during the commemoration of the International Day of Forests in Chongwe District. Details in this report.
Lusaka province is among the provinces that have been affected by deforestation due to charcoal burning and other land activities. The act of deforestation has led to climate change resulting from the depleted forests. Lusaka Province Minister Sheo Muliata has since called for concerted efforts in conserving the country's forests in a speech read for her by Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi.
As we reflect on the theme Forest and Innovation today, let us recommit ourselves to fostering a culture of innovation in our forest management practices. Let us embrace creativity, collaboration, and continuous learning as we strive to build a future where our forests thrive, our communities prosper, and our planet flourishes. Let us reaffirm our commitment to community participation in forest management, collaboration with partners, and the importance of community forest management.
Center for Trade Policy and Development, Climate Change and Environment researcher appeals to the government to strengthen the policy frameworks to reduce deforestation.
Now, we've seen over time the less rainfall which we are receiving now is due to it's as a result of cutting more trees. So going forward, like I've said, we can only urge government to continue enhancing capping measures, the measures to cap deforestation, as well as engaging other stakeholders.
And Faith Baptist Secondary School head teacher says the planted trees will reduce the impact of climate change.
The trees that will be planted will help the school to preserve the environment. I would begin by highlighting some of the advantages of having trees around us. It will reduce the effects of flooding. The trees will reduce the amount of storm water runoff, and it will also reduce the impact of climate change.
With the effects of climate change, citizens are encouraged to plant a tree and regenerate the forests. Evelyn Masialete, reporting for Zanis in Chongwe District, Lusaka Province.
Southern Province Principal Forest Officer Joyce Munkombwe says 652,000 hectares of protected forest reserves is under threat due to increased human socio-economic activities. Ms. Munkombwe said a collective innovative action must be taken to protect 30 forest reserves accounting to 7% of the provincial land surface from rampant cutting down of trees, which is contributing to climate change phenomenon such as drought being experienced by the country. Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, who officiated at this year's Forest Day held in Choma under the theme Forests and Innovation, called for sustainable management and utilization of forest reserves. Gift Banji has the details in this report.
Southern Province today joins the rest of the country in commemorating World Forest Day, where various forest products and fruits were displayed. Southern Province Principal Forest Officer Joyce Munkombwe says over 600,000 hectares of forest reserve is under threat due to increased socio-economic human activities.
The province has a total of 30 protected forest reserves with a total coverage of 652,000 are falling under traditional leadership. We find means and ways of protecting these forest resources.
Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yoranta Malunga officiated at the event and called for prudent utilization of forest reserves.
Thus, the need for innovation in sustainable management and utilization of forest resources as the theme entails. These forests have potential to generate valuable socio-economic, ecological, and health benefits.
Choma District Administrative Officer Hope Chiposo added her voice.
We are very excited that we have a day such as this one, where we are reminded of the importance of the forests.
Gift Ranji, Zanis in Choma, Southern Province.
Government has completed the construction and has handed over Kamakokwa Primary School to people of Nkehema Ward in Nkehema District of Western Province. The development marks a significant milestone achieved through the Constituency Development Fund in ensuring children are educated in a quality environment. More in the following report.
Western Province Minister, who is also Member of Parliament for Nkehema constituency, Kapelwa Mbangweta, has expressed great happiness for the dozens of Constituency Development Fund projects being handed over almost every month in Nkehema district. This move underscores government's dedication to enhancing the lives of the people through the increased Constituency Development Fund allocation from 28.3 million kwacha to an impressive 30.6 million kwacha this year.
We get very happy when we come to this particular area because this area illustrates the successes of our party, the UPND. Our president, when we were in opposition and indeed when we took power, used to say we must build ablution blocks with flushing toilets. He also said we must provide water. And this area here, there used to be a Mickey Mouse hand pump there, but now we have taps. We have an ablution block. Secondly, there was a group here of the youth during those days, and the majority of those youths now have been employed either as teachers or in the health sector. So when we see them, we remember our president and say he has delivered on all the promises he was making. And finally, today we are handing over that classroom block.
District Commissioner shares his perspective on this significant achievement.
Bana baeso, chole ya karupuma kuli hakainde hasika za kimani.
Who's going to cheat us that HH has not worked?
I'm telling you, Hakainde has fulfilled his promises. Mi kamu kwa wachwalo kachenu kona haru inzifa kwa siva kase kutokwalula classroom yencha kakuli kili sepiso deo mtombe ya Hakainde na alibulezi kwa sichaba.
That's why we are here to hand over that new classroom block.
Council chairperson is bubbling with excitement about the brand new facility as it shows the great love the Republican president has for his people.
Obi mutonda ngwe ni Hakainde akaringe ambamu kamone ngwe ni Hakainde napanga. Kubanga akaringe bati.
What do you want to see for you to appreciate that Hakainde has worked?
Twenty tumele kubipangi bana kupanga Hakainde.
Let's give thanks to the works that the president, that Hakainde has done.
Philip Jerry, reporting for Zanis, Nkehema District, Western Province.
Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua says government will consider revamping the Masasabi irrigation scheme in Iteji District as long-term measure to sustain winter maize production in response to climate change conditions in the area. Mr. Nanjua added that government will also rehabilitate non-functional irrigation facilities in the province to respond to the drought crisis and enhance winter maize production. The minister said this when he toured the dilapidated irrigation infrastructure at Masasabi Settlement Scheme. Details in the following report.
Remains of what should have been a thriving farming settlement. Despite its establishment in the early 2000s, farming activities here have not taken shape due to lack of irrigation facilities. A walk around Masasabi farming settlement in Iteji district reveals dilapidated dam and irrigation infrastructure which was meant to supply water in this farming settlement in a bid to promote irrigation-led farming. This state of affairs remains a concern to the community in this settlement.
The settlement scheme in Jagai is one of the oldest and the biggest. Pona development ine kuti mwazinguluka kwinjira mukatomo mwa ujana kuti there's no development. Damu mbuya kapangidwe yabanga yaba wiki. Twanda kulombeha maningi hulumende kuti ndiza ejijaba isinetu jibamba kwa kuno kute kwa banyama abantu hiuga honse hiponene amenda aliwawa.
Ernest Melele is Department of Agriculture Technical Officer. He too explained some of the challenges here.
In 2010, there was an idea that came up through the Ministry of Agriculture that an irrigation scheme be established. So basic works were done and then construction work started. Unfortunately, when the system was supposed to be commissioned, there were some few works that remained, that is plumbing works. Because of the time lapse, even the erosion that has taken place on the spillway has actually increased.
Now, Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua has assured of government's endeavor to rehabilitate infrastructure in this settlement.
A project like this one, we are looking at it in the long term. What is it that we need to do so that in the next 1 year, this situation is different? So we are committed to respond. We have heard the PS. We are communicating with our officers also in Choma to see what is at stake, pulling resources from everywhere.
Liseli Simusole, Zanis, Initejiteji, Southern Province.
We now take a break. Stay tuned.
Dive into the Women's Month with great entertainment on Topstar. Enjoy the best of sports, series, movies, plus more for only 180 kwacha monthly subscription. Antenna Classic OD Smart. Get set for a football roller coaster with the Bundesliga as Henry Kane's Bayern Munich continue to chess log leaders Bayer Leverkusen for the top sport. Also revel in the excitement of the Saudi Pro League and witness football giants Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, Mane, and Fashion Sakala all in action. But there is more exciting content. Extend your entertainment to movie channels on Topstar. Intrigue yourself and family with the latest and freshest action movies on ST Movies Plus, mysterious and blockbusters on Filmbox, and the best of comedy movies on ST Zone.
Oh, that was worse, huh?
Every day. So, what are you waiting for? Download the StarTimes On app and enjoy content on the go. Subscribe today. Topstar. Enjoy digital life.
Welcome back. Zanis News continues. Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu says Phase 1 of the connection of Nsama district to the national electricity grid has advanced. Mr. Mpundu says Phase 1 of the project, which the Rural Electrification Authority REA is implementing at a cost of 17 million, is expected to be completed in June this year. Geoffrey Piri has more in the following report.
From the time Nsama was declared a district in 2012, the Central Business District, CBD, has never been connected to the national electricity grid. The only place with power in the district is in Nsumbu, which is near Nsumbu National Park. But government, through the Rural Electrification Authority, REA, is implementing Phase 1 of the electrification project from Nsumbu to Mutundu at a cost of 17 million kwacha. Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu, who visited Nsama district, explains about the project.
By June, Phase 1 will be completed, and we are happy that they are moving on time. They are very strict with time. The contractor who is doing the work is doing very tremendous work, which needs commendation. Phase 2 is starting next year.
Kuna bantu baletotera sana. Bantu ichi chitike tetuwatalira tuchimonako nomba abantu nabesa muna malaiti kwena nabenda sana mtambo baliponya shera mwena na shina babika na umayanda firafine kushere fe distance inono sana kufuma kusumbu.
The second phase, which will involve the connection of Nsama Central Business District from Mutundu, a distance of about 60 kilometers, is expected to be implemented in 2025. The local leadership in Nsama is forward-looking and has already started preparing for the implementation of the second phase.
Once electricity reaches us here, we should be able to connect to the community because RIA is only going to do the main grid along the road. So we are already planning that we should start setting up posts in the communities.
For now, government departments and the people in the CBD will continue to use solar power until the implementation of the second phase. Geoffrey Piri reporting for Zanis in Insama district.
Government, through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, has approved a project proposal to install traffic lights along the Great North Road dual carriageway stretch within Mpika town as a road safety measure. Mpika Member of Parliament Francis Kapyanga says funds have been allocated to put up traffic lights along Mpika dual carriageway.
The frequency of road traffic accidents on Mpika's dual carriageway has necessitated the installation of traffic lights to save lives. Government, through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, has approved the project proposal for the installation of traffic lights in Mpika. Mpika Member of Parliament Francis Kapyanga has disclosed this to Zanis in an interview.
We decided to use what we have at our disposal to save the lives of our people. We have allocated funds to put up traffic lights along the Mpika dual carriageways. The approval was done last week by the Ministry of Local Government. Then, unfortunately, today I learned the death of Mr. Mujomba, who was hit by a bus. Very unfortunate, and I send actual condolences to the family. But with the coming in of the traffic lights, once installed, we obviously going to alleviate the issue of road accident at that stretch.
Yesterday, a Kamwanya-based motorcyclist, only identified as a Mr. Mujomba, died on the spot after he was hit by a Ndola-bound road force bus, which was being driven by Samuel Kalonga. Police in Mpika are yet to issue a statement on the matter. Peggy Gutinyu for Zanis in Mpika, Muchinga Province.
In other news, Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole has challenged local authorities in the area to emulate Lumezi Town Council in the planning and implementation of CDF projects so as to achieve government policy objectives. Mr. Tole was speaking in Lumezi district when he commissioned 7 selected community projects, which include health posts, mortuary unit, and other, which have been financed through the Constituency Development Fund at a cost of 4.8 million kwacha. Lubasi Mtafela has details in this report.
This is a signature project that is in line with the policy objectives of the New Dawn administration of packaging support infrastructure at newly built facilities in health and education sectors. The new Chamkoma Health Post in Lumezi district of Eastern Province is a shining example of a health facility that has been built with a maternity annex, a mother's shelter, and a staff house under the Constituency Development Fund. Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole has commissioned the new infrastructure.
They have packaged everything. They didn't build only the shelter for the workers who will be working at the clinic, but they provided also the clinic. And they looked at the holistic composition of male and females. So what the president always calls for is packaging. I hope other constituencies and districts have learned a lesson by bringing 1 or 2 councils to come and learn how to execute CDF projects.
World Vision Zambia has worked with government to install a water mechanized system that will supply water to this facility, the nearby schools and surrounding communities.
At Chamkoma Health Facility, World Vision is glad to have supported the installation of the water system at a cost of 600,000 Zambian kwacha, which will also supply safe clean water to Chamkoma School and the nearby village.
The local leadership have appreciated the support through CDF.
We thank the government for the gesture and call on the president His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to continue with this noble cause that has enhanced development.
The people you see here at Chakoma were previously subjected to covering long distances in an attempt to access a health center or a clinic.
Meanwhile, the new Mwansempango mini hospital built by the central government has been commissioned.
Do everything possible that the full-staffing capacity of this institution establishment will be addressed by mid this year.
Koma boma ya chitabuno kwa mbili utipasa chipatala chokulirapo pa zipatala zomwe zili nazo. Chinanso mambo atokoza boma chifukwa cholemba anyanchito.
Mtafela, Zanis, Lumezi District, Eastern Province.
The Africa Development Bank is set to embark on rehabilitation works at Nasanga Farm Block in Serenja District at a cost of over 15 million United States dollars. And Central Province Permanent Secretary Miuna Mwanakampwe says government is also working on 50 kilometers of roads in the area. Details in this report.
Development of Zambia's agricultural sector is key in achieving economic growth, poverty reduction and economic diversification. To achieve this, government, among other programs, is working to develop the Nansanga Farm Block in Serenja District in partnership with the African Development Bank.
As you are aware, sir, the farm block was opened quite over 20 years ago, but the occupancy rate has been very low. And then because of that, most of the agribusiness companies that are supposed to support them to provide services, such as financing, such as mechanization, have also not turned up because the volume of business is low. So the intervention by the bank is to ensure that we unlock that so that more farmers come back to their farms.
Mr. Bangwe highlighted some of the works to be done.
Then on productivity side, we are supporting the investors by helping them to open up their farms. I think we have targeted to open about 3,000 hectares by hiring a mechanization company to go in there and help them to clear the land so that they can find it easier to start planting their farms. We are supporting also the opening up of irrigation facilities. There is a dam, Musangashi Dam, which we are trying to raise the embankment so that it can impound more water, and then the investors can draw water from there and irrigate their farms. And then downstream of the dam, we are also planning to work with our colleagues to set up irrigation scheme downstream so that smallholder farmers and local people can engage in some irrigated farming there.
Kabwe District Commissioner Lennox Shimwambwa spoke on behalf of Central Province Permanent Secretary Miuna Mwanakampwe.
In a bid to develop the Nansanga Farm Block, government is rehabilitating the existing main road at a total cost of 27 million kwacha. Further, government has advertised for additional 50 kilometers of road within the farm block to be supported by the World Bank. The government will continue to engage bilateral partners to ensure the Nansanga Farm Block in Central Province becomes a model and a hub of agricultural production and productivity.
Kelvin Tembo for Zanis in Kabwe, Central Province.
Government through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, in Mufumbwe District has launched an exercise to identify water bodies that could be harnessed to empower farmers to engage in sustainable agricultural practices. More in the following report.
Just like many other parts of Zambia, farmers in Mufumbwe district of Northwestern Province have been faced with the harsh reality of climate change, which started by a prolonged dry spell, lasting for over 6 weeks, devastating crops planted for the 2023-2024 farming season. While the preliminary surveys indicated an increase in production from 14,000 hectares for the 2022-2023 farming season to 16,000 hectares for the 2023-2024 farming season, the prolonged dry spell sadly destroyed half of the estimated 16,000 hectares production areas. As a mitigation measure to the effects of climate change, the District Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU in Mufumbwe have swung into action, conducting assessments of water bodies to identify suitable water sources for irrigation purposes, as guided by the President, as well as promote conservation farming methods.
As you may be aware, most farmers, their crop has been destroyed by the prolonged drought, and the government would want to support these farmers so that they do winter crop production. And the starting point is we have to find places where these farmers can able to source the water. So this trip is all about identifying these streams so that when government gives us the support for our farmers, we should know who is our target, because we have already identified this, and then when we get the irrigation facilities, we get the crops and fertilizer for winter production, we are able now to go to the specific areas, working together with the local people and the camp extension officers, who are able to identify the right to farmers who we are able to give these facilities so they're able to produce during the winter time.
Meanwhile, James Mumba is among many farmers in the district who are eager to embrace this initiative, recognizing its potential to safeguard their livelihoods against future climate uncertainties.
Ingekya kwamba kafurumende witumvu inarusa witukwashako byakonshako kewe wapakubamba tuingire buno bunjimu twaringa kuingira burongo mambo tujina mikola inakupita mema kaiji tujina mikola ipisha mema throughout January up to January.
The journey towards agriculture resilience in Mufumbwe district is underway. With the commitment of both the government and local farmers, there's optimism that this initiative will not only mitigate the current crisis, but also pave the way for a more resilient agriculture sector in the years to come. John Mohanga reporting for Zanis Mufumbwe district in Northwestern Province.
Government has set priority in the provision of clean water and sanitation to its people. However, at Mushili Boarding Secondary School in Masaiti District, the pupils at the school depend on pit latrines and have inadequate water to supply, which has raised concerns to the community. More in the following report.
The community in Chilese area of Kashitu Ward has bemoaned the inadequate toilets and water facilities at Mushili Boarding Secondary School. The school, which has an enrollment of over 200 pupils, has only got 4 pit latrines for both girls and boys, which services the pupils. The community is now calling on the government to consider providing standard ablution blocks with running water at the school.
The big challenge. We don't have water for the children. We don't have toilets. Toilets to quarter for toilet imo. Abana bali more than 100 and chakuti. Number 3 lomba ko buteko kuba tubutwa fuirisheko kuno ku school. Even ikole ranga ya isaba na kuchibalwala. Tabale buya muna ntabako etamishe. Toilets bale bonfe mukula lolelana. Tulefa ko ifunani iya ko bati bale kumpa bana toilets not ya kuingira mu bana bengi. Kwa papa tamwe buteko tulalira sana kuno ku Mushiri high school. Ama toilets yonse yali sura kwa bafe toilets imo. Opo bati bembe chadilika tulefa ko flashable.
Mbamenshi challenge tukwete abana be school barefera no kusambirira bwino. Nomba abana baisa mu kusambirira ku school. Ero nomba bari amukutapa menshi pa fishima. Nishi iskuru lyabo lire akwisa bafure bareberenga bareberenga nshite iliyonse ikuru baposa mukuberenga noti mukutapa menshi.
And Kashitu Ward Councillor has appealed to well-wishers to come to the aid of Mushili Boarding Secondary School.
We are very grateful to the council that the council has always been there every time we lobby for them. But one thing for sure that we have to understand is that Mushiri Boarding School needs a lot. We need proper ablution kits. We've done what we've done. We've done some applications through the CDF, through also the Ward Development Committee, and we were given some contingents that was given to us, but it was not enough. If you look at the status quo of the toilets, it's almost like we have completely nothing, especially for the girls. So with the health aspect of a girl child, I think we need to do more and see to it that it is done. Our cry is that the government should come to our aid, either central government through the Office of BEBS or through CDF, through the council, whichever channel, even well-wishers, if they can come on board and assist us, then we'll be very grateful. Otherwise, all in all, we are grateful because CDF has been a game changer.
Kwa Chichanda, Zanis, Masaiti District.
The Zambia Civic Education Association has donated bicycles to Community Children's Rights Monitoring Team to ease their transport challenges in tracking child rights violation at community level in Central and Kashitu Ward in Kapirimposhi District. The bicycles will also help the team in raising awareness on children's rights and follow up unreported cases regarding children's rights in the ward. The Engineering Institute of Zambia, EIZ Registrar David Kamango, has urged engineers in Chiwuyunju District to enhance service delivery on constituency development fund projects. Engineer Kamango was speaking during the launch of the first EIZ branch in Chiwuyunju District. Let's take a look at this report.
History has been made as the Engineering Institute of Zambia has launched its first ever branch in Chiwuyunju District. Engineers gathered to witness the 14th EIZ launch in the southern region. Speaking during the launch, Konkola Mine Representative Engineer Vincent Mwalongo said, having an EIZ branch in Chiwuyunju District is something that must be appreciated by all engineering professionals and people living within locality.
But why join EIZ? There are a lot of benefits. It will serve the district in promoting and regulating all engineering professionals. It will promote skills development within the district. It will help build young engineers through career talk in schools within the district. It will organize technical tours for engineers in industries within the district for them to have wide understanding on engineering operation matters.
And Engineering Institute of Zambia Registrar and Chief Executive Officer David Kamango hopes that the presence of the institution will enhance the quality of engineering services, especially on public projects in the district.
Especially here in Nampundwe. As you may be aware, the government has been talking about CDF and its full implementation and the need for technical experts and professionals just to be part of the whole process. So we are hopeful that through the creation of Nampundo branch, there will be access to the vast membership of the Engineering Institution of Zambia.
The newly elected EIZ Nampundo branch leaders also implored engineers in the district to supplement government's efforts by being innovative and help fight the serious effects of climate change the country is currently experiencing.
On climate change, I think one of the core values of Engineering Institute of Zambia is innovations and inventions. As engineers, we don't just need to sit, we need to ensure that we invent, energy sources that will be cost effective, that will not depend so much on water, but those that will be able to depend on wind and also the energy in terms of the sun. We have so much sun, most especially in Chiwuyunju. So I'm calling upon the government and the Republic of Zambia if they can just tap into ensuring that we create other energy sources such as solar, creating a solar plant within Chiwuyunju branch so that it can help. I also want to call upon the government to ensure that they find many other means of energy generation.
Meanwhile, engineers in the district appreciated the opportunity to have the presence of EIZ for the first time.
It's a big milestone for us. We are the latest branch that to be commemorated under EIZ. What does that mean for us and for future engineers? It means that we've started a milestone. We're encouraging more people in STEM and engineering, and this is such a momentous day. May more people be encouraged to follow the field of engineering. May more people be encouraged to know that you are not limited by your area or other aspects, and to know that there's a greater future ahead for engineers in Nampundwe and Chiwuyunju district.
Zanis reports in Chiwuyunju District of Central Province.
That item brings us to the end of Zanis News, but before we go, we take a look at stories that made headlines. A VIP launches Zambia at 60 and theme. Over 6,000 hectares of forest reserve under threat. Connection of Nsama to national grid advances. Plus, government to install traffic lights in Mfika. That's all we had for you on Zanis News. On behalf of the entire Zanis production team, my name is Faith Katai. Have a pleasant viewing.